turn hard habits into 1-minute starter action. Step 1. Define the task to reduce friction. So like let's say with reading, you start off by writing the task that you want to do. So for reading this book, let's say we want to read 10 pages. So now we have defined our goal, read 10 pages. So you want the task to be extremely specific. So I'd recommend you use a number. So read 10 pages, or do 50 push-ups, or eat this amount of food. The task you want to do, write as specific as you can. And the task can either be a goal or it could be a specific amount of time. So a goal could be reading 10 pages, or a specific amount of time is, let's say you want to do a task for 10 minutes or for 20 minutes. So either one works, or you could combine both of them. The next thing that you want to do is after you wrote down the exact task, you want to break it down to what I call the smallest full unit. So you don't want it to be too small. Like let's say when you're reading a book, like just read one word or one line. It needs to be a full unit. So for that, with reading, it could be read 1 to 2 pages. So now you make the simplified version, so 1 to 2 pages. And you can apply this with other habits. Like if it's push-ups, maybe it's do 10 push-ups. If you want to write something, maybe it's write 100 words or 50 words. So it needs to be small, but not too small. Because if it's too small, it doesn't seem like you actually made any progress. But if it's small, but not too small, you actually start making progress with that, even if you do just the bare minimum. The next thing that you want to do is you want to remove obstacles. So you want your space to only focus on one single task at a time. So like let's say for reading, we have our paper, we have our pen, we have our book, and you can have some timers. And that's it. You don't need any other notebooks. Maybe you can have some stuff that motivates you on your desk. But really, if you want full focus, this is all you need. Items that focus on that single task. Everything else you put next to your bed or put it in another room. So you don't want any distractions with this idea. Step 2 is forced entry action. So once we have this small task that we want to do, read 1 to 2 pages, now we're going to get a timer for this. And what you want to do is you want to set a timer for 1 minute. And now you have two options with this. Option 1 is you could do the small fullest unit. So read 1 to 2 pages, do 10 push-ups, write 100 words, write 50 words. Or what you could do is you get a timer and then you just set it for 1 minute. And then you do, let's say, reading for 1 minute. So the idea of this is to help you take action fast. Because once you start, it's a lot easier to keep going. But you'll notice starting is the hardest part. So which option are you going to use today? The small fullest unit or the 1 minute idea? The reason why these two things work better than doing the full task when you're procrastinating is because let's say for your full task you want to read 10 pages of this book. Well, the problem with that is that it seems like a lot to do when you're procrastinating. Now, once you start, it's a lot easier. But the problem is that that's a big thing that you need to do to start. So with this strategy, that helps you start fast. So step 2 is all about starting fast. Small fullest unit, or set 1 minute timer. So this is what it looked like. Set a timer, 1 minute, when I start it, and then I just open the book wherever page I'm on. And then I stay reading until this timer is done, or I finish 1 to 2 pages. See, and the timer's done, and I read basically 1.5 pages. So what I can do is now I want to finish the second page. Why? Because I already started. I don't want to stop in the middle of the page, so I can keep reading. Let me give you a quick reading tip for your reading if you're doing a reading habit. So you can get a bookmark, and then what you can do is you can trace it. So that you can mark the page, and then instead of tracing it with your fingers, you can trace it with the bookmark. So that way it helps you read faster, just as a bonus. Now let's go on to step 3. Step 3 is build momentum. So once you're already started reading for the 1 minute, it's a lot easier to keep going. So we talked about setting a 1 minute timer or doing the smallest full unit. So far we have this. We defined the task, 10 pages. Then we made it simple, read 1 to 2 pages. And then we gave ourselves two options. Smallest full unit, which is 1 to 2 pages, or read for 1 minute. And now, next thing that you need to do is you want to keep the momentum. So you have two decisions for this. You can either stop once you finish the smallest full unit or the minute, or you could keep going. And now what I recommend is that once you have the momentum, you keep going until you fully complete the task. So it could be read 10 pages, or if you do another task that isn't a specific task but a certain amount of time, like maybe analyze your business for 10 minutes, you could do 10-minute habit. So after you get started, use that momentum to fully do that habit right then instead of waiting to do it later. Because if the longer you wait to do something, the less likely you are to do it. So it's up to you to make the choice. Do you stop or do you continue? Because remember, even if you stop after the minimum, you still win because that's your minimum goal. Read 1 to 2 pages. Or you could continue until you reach your full goal. But remember, if you complete either one, the smallest full unit or the full habit, you still win because they're both goals that you set for yourself. So once you hit them, be proud of yourself and continue. Now we're going to log the progress. So this is where the second timer comes in handy. So you can have two timers for this. One timer is a 1 minute timer, and then this is the momentum timer. It's a timer starting at 0. So you can have both timers. And then once you start reading, you set this one, the minute one, and then you set the 0 timer one. And then you can keep going until either this is done, and let's say this timer is finished. And then let's say this, and then let's say use the momentum to read the 10 pages. And let's say that took you 12 minutes and 5 seconds. So what you do now is you track your progress. And this can help motivate you. So you can use any habit tracking app, or you could track it with simple pen and paper. So you can write this. Let's say you read the full 10 pages. You could say 10 pages in 12 minutes and 5 seconds. So this 3-step system does 3 things. It gives you an exact task to do. It makes it very easy to start, and you can see your progress over time. So you start off by defining the task, read 10 pages, then you simplify it, read 1 to 2 pages or 1 minute, and then you track the progress that you did, like 10 pages in 12 minutes and 5 seconds, or 1 page in 1 minute.